Welcome to Bedtime Stories Factory, where from thought to tale imagination sails. Don't forget hit the subscribe button and ring the bell, so you never miss a tale. Now snuggle up, relax and let your imagination drift away with us. In the heart of Aruwa village, where the golden savanna meets the dense forest, lived a young man named Yemi. Yemi was known far and wide, not for his farming skills or his wisdom, but for his love of music. Every day, he could be found under the shade of the ancient Baobab tree, drumming away on his cherished gem, while the other villagers worked hard in their fields. The Baobab tree, towering over all other trees in the village, was Yemi's favorite place. It had been there for as long as anyone could remember, its wide trunk and spreading branches offering shade to anyone who sought it. But to Yemi, it was more than just a tree. It was his sanctuary, his escape from the world. As the villagers toiled under the scorching sun, Yemi played his drums, losing himself in the rhythm of the music, oblivious to the passing time. One day, as Yemi was playing his gem under the baobab tree, there was a sudden rustle in the branches above. Yemi looked up to see a small, colorful bird perched on one of the high branches. The bird had bright blue feathers with a hint of gold, and its eyes sparkled like tiny gems. Yemi had never seen such a bird before. "Hello, Yemi," the bird chirped. Yemi was startled. "Who are you?" he asked. "I am Aruwa, the guardian bird of this village," the bird replied. "I have come to tell you that your music has a special power. It can bring joy and peace to the hearts of those who hear it." Yemi was amazed. "But why are you telling me this?" he asked. One evening, as the sun dipped low in the sky, casting long shadows across the village, the elder Baba Kato approached Yemi. Baba Kato was the oldest and wisest man in Aruwa, with deep wrinkles carved by time and eyes that sparkled with knowledge. He had watched Yemi grow up, always with a drum in his hands, but he had also noticed Yemi's neglect of his duties. "Yemi," Baba Kato began, his voice soft yet firm, "the drums are beautiful, but they do not feed the belly. Your fields are dry, your plants are weak, and your harvest is poor. You cannot live on music alone. You must balance your love for drumming with your responsibility to the land." Yemi listened, but his heart was not in the words. He nodded out of respect, but as soon as Baba Kato left, Yemi picked up his drumsticks and resumed playing, the elder's warning fading into the rhythm of his beats. Days turned into weeks, and soon it was harvest time. Yemi's field stood in stark contrast to his neighbors. Where their crops stood tall and bountiful, his were stunted and sparse. The village gathered to share their bounty, but there was pity in their eyes when they glanced at Yemi. There was little for him to offer. Dejected, Yemi wandered to the village square, his drum hanging loosely from his shoulder. As he absent-mindedly tapped a rhythm, a small crowd of children gathered around him, clapping and dancing. In that moment, an idea sparked in Yemi's mind. The next day, Yemi began visiting the homes of the village elders, seeking advice on farming techniques. He still played his drums, but now his rhythms were filled with the energies of growth and vitality, echoing the lessons he learned. He balanced his passion for music with the rigors of tending to his fields. As the weeks passed, Yemi's fields began to thrive. His plants grew strong, their leaves lush and green. The village noticed the change, and Baba Kato smiled knowingly, his eyes twinkling with approval. The following harvest was different. Yemi's fields were now as bountiful as the others. As the villagers gathered to celebrate, Yemi brought his drum to the center of the square. He played, not just for himself but for the entire village, his music now a symbol of his growth and dedication. Baba Kato approached Yemi once more. This time, Yemi could see the pride in the elder's eyes. "You have learned the balance, Yemi," Baba Kato said. "Your music feeds our souls, and now your fields feed our bodies." Yemi nodded, a smile spreading across his face. He had discovered that when he balanced his love for drumming with his duties to the land, Not only did his fields flourish, but so did his spirit. And so, the music and the harvest became one harmonious rhythm in the village of Aruwa. The next morning, as Yemi settled under the baobab tree with his drum, a stranger approached the village. The stranger was tall and thin, with eyes as sharp as a hawk's and clothes that shimmered in the sunlight. He carried a staff topped with a carved wooden bird and walked with a purpose. The villagers, curious and wary, watched from a distance as the stranger made his way to the baobab tree, where Yemi was lost in his music. "Young man," the stranger called out, his voice resonating through the air. "Why do you waste your days in leisure while your fields lie barren and your plants wither?" Yemi paused his drumming, surprised by the stranger's sudden appearance. "I find peace in my music," Yemi replied, "and the baobab tree provides me with shade and comfort. What more do I need?" The stranger smiled, though it did not reach his eyes. "There is more to life than peace and comfort. You must care for the land, for it will care for you in return. Without the land, your music will fall on deaf ears." Yemi looked around and saw the truth in the stranger's words. The fields were indeed barren, and his village looked forlorn. Though he loved his music, he realized it could not fill their bowls with food or their hearts with hope. Still, he was unsure of what to do. Seeing Yemi's confusion, the stranger tapped his staff on the ground, and the wooden bird on top seemed to flutter its wings. "I will teach you the secrets of the land, but you must promise to blend your music with your labor," the stranger offered. Yemi's eyes widened with wonder. Could he really merge his love for music with caring for the land? He nodded eagerly, ready to learn. The stranger first taught Yemi how to listen to the land, just as he listened to the rhythms of his drum. Yemi learned to feel the soil with his fingers and sense its needs. He discovered that the land spoke in whispers, revealing when it was thirsty or hungry. Over time, as Yemi worked the fields, he began to hum melodies that seemed to encourage the plants to grow stronger. Slowly but surely, the barren fields transformed into lush gardens. The villagers, initially skeptical, began to join Yemi, planting seeds and singing as they worked. The village, once silent and weary, filled with the sounds of joy and harmony. As the seasons passed, Yemi's village flourished. The crops were abundant, and the villagers' spirits were uplifted. The stranger had disappeared as mysteriously as he had arrived, but his teachings lived on. Yemi never stopped playing his drum, but now his music had a new purpose. It was no longer just a source of personal peace. It was a bridge connecting him, the land, and his people. The baobab tree stood tall and proud, its shade a reminder of the harmony between music and labor. Yemi knew that as long as he honored the land with his work and his songs, his village would never go hungry again. And so, the music of Yemi and the lives of the villagers intertwined, creating a legacy of unity, resilience, and prosperity for generations to come. That night, as Yemi slept in his small hut, he dreamt of the baobab tree. In his dream, the tree was alive, its branches swaying gently as if in time with his drumming. A bird, with feathers as bright as the sun, flew down from the highest branch and perched on his drum. "Yemi," the bird sang, "the baobab tree holds magic, but only for those who care for the earth beneath it. If you listen to the whispers of the wind, the rustle of the leaves, and the call of the earth, you will discover a secret that will change your life." Yemi awoke with a start, his heart pounding. The dream felt so real, the bird's song still echoing in his ears. But as the day dawned, he dismissed the dream as just that, a dream. Yet something lingered in his mind, a seed of curiosity planted by the bird's words. Yemi couldn't shake off the feeling that the dream meant something important. He decided to visit the baobab tree to see if he could uncover the secret the bird had mentioned. With a small drum slung over his shoulder, he made his way through the village, greeting the curious glances of his neighbors. "Off to drum for the baobab?" asked wise old Mama Kumi, eyeing him with a knowing look. "Just thought I'd spend some time there," Yemi responded, feeling a tug at his heartstrings. As he reached the ancient tree, its massive trunk stood tall against the sky, a symbol of age and wisdom. Yemi sat down at its base and began to drum, hoping the rhythm might revive the memory of his dream. The wind whispered through the leaves, creating a soothing melody that matched his drumming. To his surprise, a golden bird descended from the highest branch and perched on his drum, just like in his dream. "You have listened, Yemi," the bird sang. "Now look under the roots where the vine grows thick. You will find a gift, but remember to always care for this tree and the land around it." Trembling with excitement, Yemi dug under the roots. There, hidden under a tangled mass of vines, he found a small, ornate box. Inside the box was a beautiful pendant shaped like a leaf with a tiny drum hanging in its center. "This pendant holds the power to bring joy and harmony," the bird explained. "Play your drum with love, and the pendant will magnify the magic. But with great power comes great responsibility. Use it wisely and always respect the earth." Yemi nodded, slipping the pendant around his neck, feeling a warmth spread through his heart. He played his drum again, and the air seemed to come alive with joyous energy. The village soon gathered, drawn by the delightful music that seemed to float on the breeze. From that day forward, Yemi played his drum with a new sense of purpose. He used his music to bring joy to his village, healing rifts and fostering unity. And every time he felt the pendant's warmth, he remembered the bird's words and the importance of caring for the earth. The baobab tree thrived, and so did the village, all thanks to the magic that had been unlocked by Yemi's faith and dedication. Days passed, and Yemi continued to drum under the baobab tree, but his mind was no longer at ease. The stranger's warning and the bird's song echoed in his thoughts. One afternoon, as Yemi played a soft melody, he noticed something strange. The roots of the baobab tree seemed to pulse in rhythm with his music, as if the tree itself was alive and responding to his drumming. Intrigued, Yemi put down his drum and knelt by the roots. As he touched the soil, he felt a warmth, a gentle hum that vibrated through his fingers. The earth beneath the tree felt alive, filled with energy. He began to dig, and as he did, he uncovered a small hidden path that led deep into the earth, under the roots of the baobab tree. Yemi hesitated, fear creeping into his heart, but curiosity got the better of him. He took a deep breath and followed the path into the darkness below. The tunnel was narrow and winding, illuminated only by tiny, glowing mushrooms that lined the walls. Yemi moved carefully, his heart pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. After what felt like an eternity, the tunnel opened into a vast underground chamber. In the center of the chamber stood a glistening pool of water, surrounded by ancient carvings on the walls. Yemi realized that this was no ordinary place. He approached the pool, feeling a strange connection with it. The path led Yemi to a hidden chamber beneath the baobab tree, illuminated by a soft, golden light that seemed to emanate from the walls. In the center of the chamber stood a small pool of crystal-clear water, surrounded by vibrant green plants that thrived without sunlight. At the edge of the pool sat the bird from his dream, its bright feathers glowing softly in the light. "Welcome, Yemi," the bird said, its voice gentle and melodic. "This is the heart of the baobab tree, the source of its magic. The tree has watched over this village for centuries, offering its shade and shelter. But its magic is tied to the land above. Only those who care for the earth, who nurture life, can unlock the true power of the baobab." Yemi listened in awe, realizing the depth of his neglect. The tree had given him peace and comfort, but he had given nothing in return. The bird continued, "If you care for your fields, if you nurture the plants and work the soil, the baobab will reward you with abundance. But if you continue to neglect your duties, the magic will fade, and the tree will wither." Determined to change, Yemi returned to the surface, the bird's words ringing in his ears. He knew he had to make things right. The next morning, instead of reaching for his drum, Yemi grabbed a hoe and went to his fields. The plants were weak, their leaves drooping and the soil dry and cracked. Yemi began to work, breaking the soil, planting new seeds and watering the thirsty earth. He worked from dawn until dusk, his hands blistered and his back aching, but he did not stop. Day after day, Yemi toiled in his fields, caring for the plants, pulling out weeds, and singing to them the songs he once played on his drum. The villagers watched in surprise as Yemi, once the dreamy drummer, became a diligent farmer. The fields began to change, the plants grew stronger, and soon green shoots pushed through the soil, reaching toward the sun. As the months passed, Yemi's fields flourished. The corn grew tall, the vegetables plump and vibrant. The baobab tree seemed to glow with new life, its branches stretching wider, its leaves greener than ever before. The villagers could hardly believe their eyes. Yemi, once known for his laziness, was now praised for his hard work and dedication. One evening, as the harvest season approached, Baba Kato visited Yemi's farm. The elder smiled as he saw the abundance of crops and the healthy plants swaying gently in the breeze. "You have done well, Yemi," Baba Kato said, his voice filled with pride. "You have learned that peace and prosperity come not from avoiding work, but from embracing it. The land has rewarded you, as it rewards all who care for it." Yemi nodded, his heart full. He had found a new rhythm, not just in his music, but in the soil, the plants, and the cycle of life. And as the sun set over the village, Yemi sat under the baobab tree, not with his drum, but with a heart at peace, knowing that he had discovered the true magic of the baobab, the magic of hard work, care, and community.